Good day, everyone. Today, we invite you to look closely beyond the headlines, beyond the noise, and see the moral and societal realities of our beloved Philippines. Welcome to Reality Check, the Philippines through the lens of faith. Together, we will explore the 5 pressing issues: the colonial mentality, poverty, corruption, the education crisis, and the displacement of indigenous people, and reflect on them through the light of the Catholic social teaching. Join us as we explore the realities of our society, not to condemn, but to seek transformation through grace.
If you want to lighten your skin, watch this video. If you've been a long-time follower of my account, you definitely...
Ese cuerpito que tú tienes, el traje de baño chiquitito te queda.
Centuries after colonization, the Filipino mind still bears invisible chains. Many Filipinos equate beauty with whiteness, intelligence with foreignness, and progress with imitation. This is a colonial mentality, a quiet wound that shapes how we see ourselves. Catholic social teaching reminds us of the principle of human dignity, that every person, regardless of race or color, is made in God's image. It tells us that every person, rich or poor, dark or fair, educated or uneducated, possesses an inviolable worth, simply because they are created by God and redeemed by Christ. To reject who we are, to look down on our language or our color, is to insult the very masterpiece of the Creator.
Our team interviewed a college student.
Kapag maputi ka, madali ka agad mapansin. Pero kapag kayong manggi ka, kailangan mo papatunayan na maganda ka o matalino pa rin. Nakakalimutan natin na lahat tayo ay gawa sa imahe ng Diyos.
Well, companies have also refined such policies to cater every worker's needs. A few companies in the Philippines practice a so-called corporate social responsibility, which is basically a model that makes a company or a business accountable towards its purpose. However,
Today, the same reality continues. While some enjoy comfort and convenience, many still struggle to survive each day. The gap between the rich and the poor grows wider, a painful reminder that progress has not reached everyone. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority, millions of Filipinos still live below the poverty line, and while others enjoy abundance, entire families survive on hope and not income. In our modern world, poverty is still not God's design. It is the result of greed, indifference, and unjust system. Catholic social teaching names this as an injustice, not a natural condition, but a human-made wound. The church principle of the preferential option for the poor tells us that in every decision, policy, and action, the needs of the poor must come first. As Pope Francis reminds us, the poor are not a problem to be solved, but people to be loved.
Our team interviewed a street vendor.
Say gani ma'am, isa ka adlaw, 20 na akong makita, wag ka ng 50 sa isa ka adlaw, pero di na ako magreklamo kay. Salamat lang sa Ginoo na kanagbuhi gyapon niya. At least nakikita og gamay kay. Usahay po na ako'y labot sa akong mga luho, basta naarang ko'y matap, mapakaon sa akong pamilya. So nakikinabuhi diri ma'am.
To ignore the poor is to turn away from Christ Himself, who said, "Whatever you do to the least of my brothers, you do to me."
Says the sharp rise in corruption concerns indicates a growing public demand for integrity and accountability in government. The firm also says Filipinos
260 million project. Useless.
Ang mahirap din talaga dito sa laban kontra korupsyon. Ang hirap maghanap ng ebidensya.
Talagang nakalinyang mga maleta na yung gawang lagayan pera para sa mga congressmen.
Kriminal Mga hayop to mga tao to, hindi tao to mga.
It begins quietly. A signature, a favor, a thank you envelope. But corruption has a way of spreading until dishonesty becomes the rule and integrity the exception. From the highest offices to the smallest barangay, corruption has taken root in unaccounted funds, ghost projects, political dynasties, and vote buying during elections. Corruption is the silent thief that steals not only money, but hope. It poisons systems, destroys trusts, and deepens injustice.
The Church sees corruption as a moral sickness, a sin against the common good and the virtue of solidarity. In his apostolic exhortation, Evangelii Gaudium, Pope Francis calls corruption a process of death that feeds the culture of waste. It kills not only economies, but consciences. When those in power serve themselves instead of the people, they betray their moral duty as servants of God's justice.
Our team interviewed a government employee.
Marami po talagang gustong gumawa ng tama. Pero minsan, kapag sistema na ang duyot, mahirap tumayin mag-isa. Kailangan ng tapang at pananampalataya.
Classroom shortage still a persistent problem in the Philippines as a new academic year begins. In Kalumpit Town in Bulacan, only 8 out of about 24 classrooms at one elementary school is usable as it remains under floodwaters after recent rains. The school city shifting as well as blended learning are being implemented at the Batasan National High School because of the...
In our country, access to education is supposed to be a force for equality. Yet today, we face a massive gap. Around 165,000 classrooms are still lacking nationwide, according to the Department of Education. Education is meant to be a ladder out of poverty, yet for many, it remains a locked door. Unequal access to learning reflects an equal respect for human dignity. Children share cramped rooms, others study under trees. Meanwhile, the dream of education for all remains elusive.
The Church teaches that education forms the mind and the conscience. Injustice in education denies children their God-given potential to flourish. According to Gravissimum Educationis, education must form not only the mind, but also the conscience, shaping people who know what is good and have the courage to do it. When education becomes unequal, when the poor have no access to learning, we rob them of their God-given chance to grow and to serve.
Our team interviewed a teacher.
Marami sa mga estudyante ko ang nag-a-absent dahil walang pamasahe. Minsan, naglalakad ng 2 oras papasok. Pero pag nakarating na sila, andyan yung sigla nilang matuto. Yun ang inspirasyon ko.
Education should be a light for all, not a privilege for the few.
Alert o level 0 hanggang sa level 5 o kapag mapaminsalang sumasabog na ang bulkan.
In the mountains and forests, where the first prayers of our ancestors were whispered, many indigenous people are now displaced. When Mayon volcano trembles, it is not only the ground that shakes, but also the lives of those who have called its slopes home for generations. For the indigenous people of Albay, Mayon is more than a mountain. It is life, memory, and identity, the soil where their ancestors are buried, and the source of the crops that sustain them.
Catholic social teaching speaks of the principle of care for creation and solidarity. This reminds us that the earth and all who live in it are interconnected. When creation suffers, humanity suffers. Pope Francis in Laudato Si calls for special care for indigenous communities who are among the first to experience the effects of both environmental disasters and social neglect.
our team interviewed an indigenous people.
Anyutang na mo, dili kini panagiya, ginabuhi kini. Hindi kami na tao, dinhi sa pagdumali. Pero karon ginapahawak kami sa yuta ni Apo Dios.
When we lose their culture, we lose a part of God's image in humanity.
Behind every statistic is a story, a mother, a teacher, a child, a people longing for justice. The church does not remain silent. Through Catholic social teaching, she reminds us that our faith must always lead to action.
These realities challenge us, but the church does not leave us hopeless. It calls us to respond with faith and action. So now let us listen to our Faith and Society Forum, where voices from different walks of life discuss how our faith can heal our nation.
Good afternoon and welcome to Faith and Society. In collaboration with Reality Check, the Philippines through the lens of faith, where we talk about faith and how it influences our perspectives, decisions, and opinions towards societal issues. A talk show where we take a deeper look at the realities shaping our nation and how faith continues to guide, challenge, and inspire us amidst it all. After seeing the harsh realities of our country, have you ever wondered what fuels each person to act, serve our community, do their duties as Filipinos, treat other people, or see life in general? Now that we know the reality of the Philippines and the Filipino people, can you still say that the people use God's heavenly influence to move every day? I am Ynna, and today we open our hearts and minds to the question, how does our faith remain strong when our society seems to be breaking? Good morning mga kunars! Currently, we are facing many harsh truths. Poverty, corruption, injustice, education crisis and inequality, indigenous cultures and displacement, and moral decay. Every day, we see headlines that test not just our patience, but also our belief in what is good and true, what is right and wrong. Every day we ask ourselves, is this the right for the Filipino people? Maraming Pilipino ang napipilitang mabuhay sa isang bansang puno ng buod. Here at Faith and Society, we believe that faith is not a separate world from society. It is the very light that helps us see what is right and just. It gives us the moral reason to do good for the people, to give justice to the responsibility that we have for and to them, to always be fair and true. Now we ask, how can faith lead us to moral renewal? How can we connect our faith to society? Today we have special guests who will be with us to answer important questions. We have Father Miguel, we have Mrs. Reyes, and we have Alex. Hello and good morning to you guys. To start this day, I want to ask you, what do these issues reveal about the moral state of our nation?
These issues show that the presence of moral sin, not just individual faults, but systems built on greed and indifference. Our society has forgotten that morality is not private, it's public. The gospel calls us to be a moral conscience in the world.
I see families who work hard but remain poor. Poverty is not laziness, it's the fruit of inequality. As Catholics, we are called to solidarity, to walk with the poor and not pity them.
These issues show that our nation is struggling with honesty, justice, and compassion. Many people forget moral values and think only of personal gain.
For our second question, I want to ask you guys, how do Catholic school teachings guide us?
Catholic social teaching offers us principles such as human dignity, common good, solidarity, subsidiarity, preferential option for the poor, and care for creation. These are not theories, they are the Church's moral compasses.
As a social worker and activist, it guides me to treat everyone with dignity, fight for justice, and serve those in need. So they remind me that faith isn't just belief, it's action that brings hope and change to real lives.
As youth, we must fight corruption by starting with ourselves. Honesty in exams, fairness in group work. Small acts of integrity rebuild trust.
Another question, how can our faith influence our decisions as a citizen of this country? Especially that we have several societal issues that have to do with our moral grounding.
Our faith guides our conscience, helping us choose what is right and just amid the moral challenges of our society. As citizens, faith also calls us to act with honesty, compassion, and respect for human dignity. In doing so, we live out the gospel through our civic responsibilities.
My faith pushes me to choose what's right even when it's unpopular. It reminds me to serve with honesty, fight corruption, and put people's welfare first. Faith gives me strength to keep working for justice and dignity in our communities.
Our faith helps us choose what is right. It reminds us to be honest, kind, and fair even when it's hard. Faith teaches us to think of others and not only ourselves.
Now we're down to our last two questions. So, knowing the current state of the Philippines with all the issues of corruption, poverty, educational crisis, and indigenous displacement, can you see the use of morality and reason among the people who deal with this?
In the face of corruption, poverty, and injustice, many seem to have lost their moral compass and reason. Yet, there remain people guided by faith and integrity who strive to serve others selflessly. Their example reminds us that morality and reason, rooted in God's truth, can still bring hope to our nation.
I've seen how greed weakens morality, but many still choose integrity and kindness. Their courage reminds me that change starts with staying true to our values.
In many cases, morality and reason are not fully used. Some leaders act for power or money, not for the common good, but there are still people who stand firm in doing what is right.
Okay, for our last question today, I want to ask you, what can we do as ordinary Filipinos? And what can those people with authority do?
Faith without action is dead, but faith with love transforms nations.
Serve where you are, help a scholar, feed a child, and vote wisely. Social change begins with moral conversion.
As an ordinary Filipino or ordinary Filipinos, we can start with ourselves. Be honest, responsible, and compassionate. Those in authority should lead by example, serve with integrity, and make fair decisions for everyone.
That was a very insightful conversation. Thank you so much for being with me today, Father Miguel, Mrs. Reyes, and Alex, to talk about faith and society. Indeed, our moral crisis can only be healed by moral awakening. Today, I want to end this segment by saying this quote from Pope Francis: "A faith that does not show itself in works of justice is not genuine faith." Thank you, mga kunars, and good morning. See you on our next talk show.